Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our continued walkthrough of the Launch Code 101 Java track. Today, we're going to be going through the first piece of our assignment that's due tonight for some reason, which is Spring into MVC. I'm a little late getting this one out. We actually had a live yesterday, but there were some issues with me using a 2019 version of IntelliJ. Yeah, 3 years old now, so that's on me. It took me a little longer to diagnose the issue than I thought. I'll be releasing this piece as soon as possible because I know the setup has kind of confused a lot of students. And the second piece will go up later today or early tomorrow. But for now, just sit back, relax, and let's walk through this first piece. Uh, First up, we're just going to be talking about design patterns, MVC, and Spring. So we've been designing our applications by diagramming classes, drawing connections, and abstracting via interfaces. This helps us start seeing issues before starting coding. Many software devs start their applications with this process. Uh, t- t- Before we start diagramming our cat on our house cat class, we decide on the template for our designs that we want to use. These design templates that are abstract solutions to common software architectures are called design patterns. We're going to focus on the model, view, controller design pattern, where the logic behind the application is broken into three sections. The model, which handles the data and the business logic of the application. The view, which is the HTML, CSS, and the user interface essentially, and the controller, which passes information back and forth from the models to the views. Controllers are essentially the traffic cops of the application. And this is a rudimentary kind of breakdown of the MVC, but a quick Google search. And of course, images. Okay. And let's look at this one. Okay. So the user interacts with the view, that's the user interface. The view alerts the controller of a particular event. The controller updates the model, and then the model alerts that views have been changed. So the view will grab the model data and update itself. The model, and I wish there was a better way to kind of display this. Let's see. Oh, actually, I like this one a little bit better. So yeah, so a request is made to a user interface. It's routed to the controller. The controller interacts with the data model, which accesses the database, and then the controller invokes the view, which then renders the view. So this is it's a more, I guess, whole way of looking at things. Let's say that you're on google.com, which is the view. You type in what I just did, MVC controller. That is routed to the appropriate controller, which could be / search $Q equals MVC controller. We're going to get more into these parameters that are being passed through. The controller then interacts with the data model and their database. So Google's massive amounts of search results, which are gathered by web crawling. And then that information, the controller invokes the view to update. So we get redirected to the actual Google search results. Simple enough, nothing too new. All right, let's go ahead and get back to design patterns. Because MVC breaks down all of the programming logic of an application into three digestible components, we can use this design pattern to make extensible applications. We also use it because it separates the components of the programs from the underlying business logic. So Spring is a Java framework. We'll use Spring Boot, an extension of Spring MVC. Okay, and we can also write and run apps because of the embedded application server Tomcat. So we're going to be doing a couple of things. If you watch this video, I highly recommend that you do. I'm not going to get into it because that's going to add like 30 minutes to this video, and I just want this to be a quick setup video. But essentially, we're going to be working 4 different sections. Number 1 is going to be just a request handler that returns a static message. That means that it doesn't take anything that you put into consideration. It'll just return hello world, which is perfectly displayed. Let's see, you go away. I have to actually play. Fine, we'll wait for this thing to load. Oh, it did load. It's just super, super obscure. Okay, there we go. So, yeah. So if you can see this is a static message. Hello Spring, just hosted on the local main page. We'll also be doing parameters to request, which is probably here maybe. Hello question mark name equals launch code, hello launch code. We'll be handling path parameters, hello / launch code, which returns, we go back a little. Nope. Hello / launch code, hello launch code, and then if you change it to hello Java. Nope. Oh, I guess they didn't. Okay, that's fine. And then last will be a form where this is going to relate more to templating HTML and making these fields. But that's going to be a little more complicated, and we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go ahead and just continue through the setup. So we're going to initialize Spring. Now, this video will walk you through the steps to initialize Spring. It's a little out of date, so I would highly recommend just following along here. But essentially, you're going to click onto the Spring IO website. And I love the fact that it didn't drop me off where I needed to. Oh no, that's just a generic website. So start.spring.io, and these are going to be the parameters you're going to want to use. So you're going to use a Gradle project. The language should be Java. You're going to need the dependencies for Spring Web and Spring Boot DevTools, and Spring Boot 2.6.3. Use the packaging jar and Java 11. So we're going to recreate that. So Gradle project, Java, 2.6.3, jar 11, and we're going to use Spring Web and DevTools. Okay, so let's go ahead and head back over up to here. Yeah, project, we select Gradle, language Java, this we ignore. Project metadata, we're going to enter org.launch code. No, for the group. Okay. And blah, blah, blah. For the project metadata artifact, hello Spring. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and generate. And we have a download here. Apologies for the notifications. Okay, so now we have our download. We're going to click back into the screen. Just completely, oh my God. Yeah, I'm not dealing with that right now. So springing into IntelliJ, we're going to have to open up our download folder, which we conveniently already have right here. And we're going to go ahead and actually unzip this. And we're going to copy our Hello Spring folder. And I'm just going to drop it into the desktop. If you have your information better organized than me, congratulations. And there's my Hello Spring folder. And we're going to start IntelliJ actually. There we go. And yes, I did upgrade. So now we should no longer have that issue. All right, so we have new project. And if you didn't get dropped off at this page, just feel free to go, hey, I actually need, just close the previous project and it should drop you off here. So we're going to do new project. We're going to do Gradle project, Java 15. Next. Oh, that's why. Okay, hang on. Projects. Huh. Oh, this does look weird. Not get from version control. We don't need that. This is different. Open Isaac desktop. Hello Spring. Okay. Okay, so I just had to open mine, but ideally you would get the option to import from a download. And right now it's starting the Gradle information. So let's see if this actually builds. Gradle daemon started in 2 seconds, 985 milliseconds, building out the model. Build successful. And you'll sometimes get these pre-built shared indexes. I just download anyway, it's fine. But yeah, that was a lot simpler than yesterday, I guess. IntelliJ's gotten some really good updates lately. Okay, let's go ahead and head back to our instructions. So we do have our string project structure, the Spring project structure. In the source directory, we'll find our main and test categories. And we can actually, let's do this. Let's put this over here, and there we go. So we have main, we have Java, and here's the org.launchcode.hellospring and our Hello Spring application. We always have this main method, which is needed to run all of our apps. We're not going to do anything to it. I'm just letting you know that, hey, it is here and we do have it. And we did not get any import errors, so we are good on that. We also find a resource folder in main, which is right here. So we actually have a couple of resources that we can put in. So our static resources will be pictures. If we are doing a low grade app, we can actually store most of our hosted images here. We can do HTML and CSS. Our templates folder is geared more towards the time leaf templating, which we'll get to in a minute. And that doesn't even mention it. That's weird. Okay. So outside of source, a git ignore contains the basic items of our project that Spring expects not to be version controlled. These are files created by the IDE and compiled code in the .build. Okay, Gradle. And we can actually make this smaller, pull out the Gradle menu. Gradle is a Java tool that handles much of the work related to building and deploying software applications. We do have build.gradle, which is right here. And if we scroll up and down, we'll see that we have our plugins, we have our repositories, our dependencies, and our our test. And we do indeed see that we have starter web and we have dev tools. So a couple of key items to note. Oh, one big item to note here is that these are all libraries. So third-party libraries can be introduced into your code. That is that they're going to do something that you don't necessarily, you can use them for. All you would have to do is list them out here. There's specific syntax to how to list them out or how to type them out. Just keep that in mind going forward. Before running a Spring project, we're going to do in build.gradle. We're going to locate an item called source compatibility, which is right here. If its value is not equal to 15, change it and save the file. So let's change that to 15. And you'll see that we get this little, I don't know if that's an elephant or if that's a crocodile, but we're just going to call it an elephant. And we're going to load the changes, and it's configuring the projects and rebuilding the model. Build successful in 2 seconds. Okay, now we're going to go into the Gradle directory. We're going to open the wrapper, which is already open actually. And then we're going to find gradle.wrapper.properties. We have to make sure that our distribution URL is at least 6. We are on 7.3.3, which means that we're good. And we're going to open on step 3 our test class, which is, do we have a test class? We don't. The plot thickens. Oh yeah, we do. Ugh. I am sorry, I am blind and I have not gotten a new prescription in a while, so things like that will happen. We're going to double click here and we're going to run. And all this is doing is just making sure that our our configurations have been made and that our project is working. Like here, we have an invalid source release 15. And that might be because, let's see, file, settings, Gradle, there it is. Yep, that's why. So we'll just use Java version 15, apply, okay. And let's try running it now. And you could also have just clicked here on the Gradle panel. Gradle settings. Okay, so we're up and running now. Yep, execution finished. 4 actionable tasks, 4 executed. We're good. Okay, running a Spring project. To run the application, click the Gradle icon on the side of the IntelliJ window, which is right here. If you don't see the Gradle sidebar, click the panel icon on the bottom of your window and select Gradle. And I don't see that, so we're not going to worry about it. If you do have any questions on that, though, let me know and we'll see if we can figure it out together. Once the Gradle panel is opened, go into Tasks. Here you'll find various tasks that Gradle can run. Inside Tasks, open Application, and double-click Boot Run. And now it's executing Boot Run. And we'll see if we do get this execution correctly, which we did. We see Spring, we see everything, allow access. And also note that you may not see the same output. You may see something that looks more like this, which we do see. Everything is running correctly. Keep an eye out for the message that resembles started Hello Spring application in blank blank seconds. Started Hello Spring application in 2.771 seconds. Okay, good. And while this message will change depending on the application you're running, the message indicates that Spring Boot is started up successfully. We'll see an error message or a stack trace if there's an issue. We'll also notice that it is running on port 8080. And when we go here, we can actually do localhost / there's a certain way to do this. Oh, yeah, we're just going to ignore that for now because that's later anyway. Okay, so what is the name of the task to start a Spring Boot application? That's boot run. And true or false, all custom code in a Spring Boot application is located in the main method. And if we scroll up now, because I honestly cannot remember, we'll see our Hello Spring application. And we'll run the app in the section below, but we won't be working with much else in the main method in this course. So with that, we would say that that's false. Not all custom code has to be in the main method. That's just where it's going to run from. Okay. With that being said, we're about to hit 20 minutes, but this was just a quick setup. I will have the rest of this uploaded at some time tonight. I do apologize. I don't know what happened with my IntelliJ, but it just had a weird fizzle out moment. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out and we will go from there. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.